With the May ban list now in effect, it was time to revisit an old classic, Aqua Force. Our boy Thavas deserves a little bit of love, and I also was thinking about an old nostalgic deck that had a lot of fun back in the day, and that was Riptide Dragon. This deck concept was originally by Zay and Wave Nation, so kudos to them. But over the years, I updated that deck with the support that has come about in Aqua Force and Stokeia. With the ban list and also more new Stokeia cards and also the erratas from History Collection, Riptide has made a comeback. Some of you don't even know what this card does. All it is a 32k beater that can only attack if it's the 4th battle or more. The original deck concept is using cards like Neville Gazer and First Striding Lambros to be able to restand Riptide as much as you can. That's right, Lambros is actually first stride, you just don't get the power if you didn't know that. However, thanks to now with the erratas with Thava, we have access to Tidabor to not only get double Excel Circle for having less of a need of restanders, but also to enable Generation Break. That's very key because we rely on cards such as Andre and also Orphea to extend even more attacks with the same Riptide. We also have cards such as Fariagas and again Lambros that we can still rely on during the stride turns to get another restand in as well. And thanks to Divine Z, we have some goodies that we can actually splash into Riptide, and I'm excited to show this off. You want to stay to the end of the video because I want to show off some ride progression and also how to set up your sequencing of attacks so you get to maximize your Riptide attacks. Let's get right into it. Check out Dueling Guard's deck boxes, playmats, and binders. The great quality products that are anime based. They continually have more anime options becoming available. Use the affiliated link in the description for a 5% discount on your next purchase. So we want to maximize on 4 copies of Thavas. Again, this has access to the History Collection, Stride, Tidabor, Double Excel Circle, draw 2 cards, Pot Agreed, but also really set that up for our Restanders, our Riptides, and any other pieces that are important while enabling Generation Break for Orphea and Andre. I've also incorporated a consistency package with Nikki and Barrages with this as well. It just makes that write up a lot more easier, and you can just focus on getting the remaining pieces that you still need. The bad boy himself is Riptide at max Cappy, so you want to see this card as soon as possible, especially turn 3. You can work with 1, and that's really what you need in most turns. You can get away with 2 because you have now an additional circle, and then with the Furiaga's turn, you can have another circle having a 3rd Riptide potentially in the max. That doesn't come up as often, but the sweet spot is definitely 1, potentially 2. Now you may be asking like, okay, so we can stack triggers, we can stack power, we can stack crits on Riptide, being able to restand it with all these skills, but what happens if it gets blown up? What happens if it gets reduced crit? That's why we are playing that card, Bracing Angel Ladder. That stops a lot of those annoying effects. It doesn't stop everything, but it stops a majority of those things too. It also is Fuel for the Soul, and you realize that this deck uses Soul because of cards of like Aletheria and of course Orphea and so on. So this is very appreciated. Notice that this grade 3 lineup, these are all grade 3s that you want to look for. So in the grade 1s, I do play Barragios, which helps with the consistency. And even going second, we are playing the grade 3 heals. So that way we can survive if we're going second. We like to take some damage, but we don't want to take too much damage. And I did try a card with the counter charger, the blue wave heal trigger, but I felt like most times I ended up wanting to have the grade 3 to either use the skill defensively or being able to pitch to stride essentially. And then there was other methods that I can just counter charge or add to the soul if needed already. So the grade 2s we are playing for Repressed Riptide Dragon. In most cases, this is a consistency booster. Really, we want to check that top 7 for the ideal grade 1 target, but also set up the remaining pieces as you go up to grade 2 as well. And then if you ride this can be a potential restanding Vanguard on turn 2, which can help discard some unnecessary cards, especially if you're going second. You can discard like the Ticket Shield, that's 5k, get something better with your combo pieces, and potentially benefit from an extra drive check essentially. This is also your fallback on restanders getting power. Again, Repressed Strike will get plus 10k on the 4th battle or more. So if you don't necessarily have a Riptide, you can at least fall back onto the usual Aqua Force stuff. Now you may be asking yourself like, okay, Riptide needs to be 4th battle or more. So how are we getting there? So as you notice with Tidabor, it is the 3rd battle or more. So we're actually pretty good on the 3rd battle. So the next question is, what about 1st wave? What about 2nd wave? And that's where we have the restanders that are really good during those battles. The best one is Terrific Coil. He is terrific on what he does. On attack, you Soul Blast 1, restand this card, and then it also gets an additional 5k if it was restood by an effect in general. This on the XL2 circle will make it 19k, which is actually 15k shield against a grade 2 Vanguard, that's 9k base, and then anything that's 10k or greater base will just be that annoying 10k shield that you're asking for. What's really good about this and being mindful is that it uses Soul instead of CB. You could use a card like Algos as well, but you want to preserve the CB for your Orpheas, your Andres. You could actually stack multiple Andres as well. well on a single Riptide, so that's something to keep in mind. And then also your later strides do use the CB, not to mention defensively your Ionis as well. And then of course the next restander is Tidal, specifically the V series. That's correct, the V series one. Again, we're trying to aim for that first second battle. This Tidal will be able to restand without losing any power. This is a 14k on the XL2 circle, so it actually gets over those numbers too. I was actually playing a 6-1, but I felt like I was wanting some other cards, so I had to make room, so I reduced this. Thanks to the double XL circles that we get from Tidal Boar, we could actually splash cards like Petros or Eleftheria in the front row just to make up the battle count if we really need to as a fallback. So I felt comfortable reducing this to just one Tidal. In our very rare cases, this can come up where you can actually restand this later with an Alexandros. It could still restand in later battles, it just loses 5k immediately. So you can have that wiggle room too with this card. Onto the grade 1s, we're applying 3 Baragios. Again, we want the consistency, and all our grade 3s are very good targets, and we need to fetch them at as much as we can, then depending on which one we're still looking for. Good right target is also a 13k booster with Riptide Dragon and also just a 13k attacker. On the XL circle, it'll be 18k as well, so pretty much appreciate card. This also works on the Tidal Boar call if you really want to do that as well, or the Valeos play as well. And this is a good Valeos target for as a booster, but also as an attacker too, since it'll be over the 11k. In addition to Baragios, we were playing 2 Nikki, the V series. And again, thanks to Riptide Dragon, we have a higher consistency. So anywhere from 5 to 6 readable grade 1s is ideal. Being able to check the top 7 for a Thavas helps alleviate that much more. It's a bigger reach than going the 4 Baragios in that way. You could also make an argument for the Nikki G as well. If you want to reveal the grade 3 that you currently have and be able to search the Thavas directly, you can do that as well. The other thing to keep in mind is that this is a 10k shield, and also this can actually generate soul if you do need it. And again, as you test this deck, you'll realize that soul is pretty important as well. And speaking of soul, we have 2 copies of Orphea. I feel like with some of the other cards that I have included, you can go down to 2 Orphea. You can go up to 3 if you really want to go that route. And again, you got to realize this is an old card. This is 5k shield. But what's benefit is that not only it'll restand the boost the target and of course reduce the 5k, but it also has resist. So this can stay on the board pretty annoyingly for your opponent too. And you don't have to worry about protecting it by itself essentially. So if they got rid of your Riptide or some other attacker that you had, you just replace the attacker and you still have the same booster essentially. To make that turn even more scarier with power, especially getting over triggers, remember, is really one of those old Aqua Force problems that we've had for over the years. So Eleftheria is a good mitigator in the sense because in the beginning of the battle phase, if you have a tier dragon that's a grade 3 or greater, this includes your strides, by the way, such as Tidal Boar, Inferiagus, and Gembold, worst case scenario. You choose one of your units and give it the red tax where that unit, when it attacks, it can get 5k. It'll apply at the end of the turn. It's an auto as well. This happens for every time it attacks. So if Riptide is restanding and attacking once more, another 5k. Do it again, another 5k. And you could already see that it can help kind of get through that trigger defensively if it does come up. Also, what's pretty nutty, if you have 2 of these on the board, they stack. So you can instantly all of a sudden get 10k per attack as well. But be mindful again, the soul does cost. Now, this is the card that I felt comfortable with reducing some of the other cards and having more flexibility is Mythiarch Habitat. So there are other cards that I've used before, like Spiritual Body Condensation, and also I thought of Frozen Resentment as well. Those cards are like revival cards, and they, to a degree, has a reach like with the top 3. But since we are able to immediately pop off on turn 3, a lot of our combo pieces are still in the deck. So Mythiarch actually shines more, and it's even better because it has a higher reach. So being able to ride to grade 3, go into your stride, now you have a grade 4, and now your entire deck opens up to whatever you need. Riptide, Orphea, Andre, restanders like Terrific Coil, Tidal Assault, etc. So this is something that's actually very helpful. In terms of defensiveness, we have the Unseenable Dragon. This is the grade 1V promo. You can G-Guard with it. You could also use the skill where you call it from hand to Guardian Circle and remove a heal from hand or drop. This actually comes up because depending on if you need to give resist or give your Vanguard 5k, that's the first battle. If it's the second or third battle, hint, this card gets 20k shield. This is better than Gophilia. So thank God. So if you really need the shield quality over than like G-Guarding or for having more cards face up or counter-charging later with Gophilia, this can come up. And then of course the 1 Sanctitude, it's a 1 card PG and it gets around guard restrictions. Now onto the grade 0s, we are playing 2 copies of Andre. This is the guy from the original Thavas trial deck back in the day in G era. So GB1, go into Soul CB1, choose something, it'll get the red text, restand at the end of the battle, and it gets 2k until the end of the turn. So not only your Riptides will restand, they will get slightly slightly bigger. This actually is kind of nice because if you're going against the 13k base Vanguard, you notice that Riptide is 12k. So it hits right under that threshold that needs to be passed by something like a trigger. So having the additional 2k actually passes that because it makes it 14. Again, you can stack multiples of these as well. I remember back in the day, I used to use Spiritual Body Condensation to revive the same Andre and then use it again. So if you want to play cards like Spiritual Body Condensation or Frozen Resentment, this opens up Andre to be re-abused with just a single copy as well. For the starter, it's the V starter. We just want draw, consistency, and things like that, and get the ticket shield if we're going second. For the actual triggers, we have 4 Petros. This helps to call bodies onto the board, especially if you do an Excel circle, it becomes 9k. This helps get that first second battle in, so that way when your Tidal swings, it's third and then into Riptide. And defensively, you draw a card. This is actually one of the problems that get fixed with this deck too, is that you need combo pieces and there had to be very unique pieces as well. So just having additional cards that draw cards in general, especially while maintaining the crit pressure, was super ideal for this deck. We have the strike crit. You can use the extra copies of Thavas to be able to strike, but we are playing Megiddo actually, so you may want to hold into at least another copy of Thavas and you can use these to be able to stride. You can play the 4th copy, or in my case, I play Supersonic Sailor. This is to help with assault and countercharging. You want to stay at low enough damage so you're not getting bombarded by attacks and you're too much of a damage to be in their lethal range. And this also can help you be a little more greedy with your current plays too, because if you can stack multiple Andres, multiple Orpheus, and then use your stride as well, this makes it a lot easier. We have the Blessed Fire. This is just a trigger that works overall. I consider the heal trigger, the purple one. You really like the crit pressure in this deck. So having that on something like Riptide is much more ideal. And PG draw. We want to have draw power, but we also want to have perfect guards. Onto the G zone, the harmonics, because we need to play harmonics. 2 Tidal Bore, again, that those plays are enabled. Turn 3 is phenomenal, especially with this deck, very synergetic. It's a tier dragon, so Eleftheria just works. And in addition, we have Furiagus. This helps generate more Excel circles, but it also can help get you to the Riptide being able to attack, and then with your Vanguard swing, and after that, you restand everything else, which restands your Riptide, making your Vanguard utilize your Riptide as well. And again, being tier dragon as well. So Lambros is still key. I would recommend a pair. One, it's free. So if you are, damage denied or anything like that, you can fall back into this, use Galphelia to countercharge, and then use that CB for maybe like an Orphea or an Andre. And you still get the benefit of this being the 4th battle or more, just in general. So you can have your Riptides attack before Lambros, restand a Riptide or 2, give it 10k in addition, and you're still golden at that point too. So Lambros is still key and it's very nostalgic. Again, the fun fact, you can first try Lambros and restand, you just don't get the power. So I thought that was neat. So for those that don't know, it's like mind blown, kind of thing. The one Alexandros, we do fall back to Alexandros, especially if your G zone count is very high. Again, if you don't have the Rip types, you can still fall back to this and you have your Tidal Assault, and then any other beaters that you want to utilize too. Valeos works too. This also mitigates the OT. So this is also just as important too. So if your opponent's at not high damage, or you feel like the OT is coming up, or you feel like their triggers are coming up and you can't make Riptide just big enough without risking for the biscuit for like triggers, Valeos is a good alternative to fall back and forcing that 11k lock while drawing cards in the process. We have Jumbo, just in case it's a fallback. You realize too, with Riptide and Jumbo, they don't play nicely together. So it's really awkward sometimes, so just be mindful of that. I'd recommend practicing with those plays. We have Megiddo as well. So the introduction of Megiddo again is because it's kind of following the Skull Dragon approach with Grand Blue. You can revive a bunch of beaters such as your Riptides, your Restanders, and you can get to those number of battles, and those cards are also superior called from the hand or drop. So your units that were retired, now you can reuse them. If you're going against a Ghidorah lock and you want to like maximize on something, this could be another option too. But at the end of the day, it's just another way to revive your pieces if you need to fall back on this. Plus, we're playing 4 copies of Thavas, so you can ultimate stride pretty easily. We have 2 copies of Ionis to protect our reguards, good shield, are very flexible. And then also Galphelia for countercharging in general. And then we have Ice Barrier for free shield, and then Dynara just in case we need the extra shield. So let's say this is your starting hand. You're going first, you draw a card. I'll just write up, draw for the starter. Nikki, check top 7. Oh, we already found our Thavas. Shuffle, add to hand, pass turn. Let's say you take a damage, then your turn, draw a card. There's a couple of ways you can do certain things too. We do have Repress, but we also have an Orphea. So let's say we go the Repress way, then call Barragios. Check top 5, found another Thavas. We could just discard it. Then on attack skill, Counterblast, discard, let's say the Petros trigger to restand, do your drive check, and then attack again. This time it's a heal trigger, so you do heal in this case. So our hand's looking pretty good. And let's say they give us 1 damage, we got a trigger, and maybe they want to keep us at 1 damage, so we don't pop off too hard. And then draw. So right Thavas, we could just immediately stride into Tidal Bore, generate double XLs, draw 2, because it's pot of greed. Okay. So in this case, it was actually pretty smart to limit us with only one CB because we have Andre and Orphea. So you may notice I have Mythiarch as well. We can use it right away and see what our top 7 looks like. These are some pretty interesting options. So we can actually call a Terrific just to save the one in our hand and keep it hidden. In this case, we call Riptide. We're going to do the Excel circle because we can use Andre, go into Soul, give the effect, and shout out to Dual Spec with the All FX dice as well. So it can restand with its own effect. We could actually just keep the rest of our hand. There's no way that we can counter charge mid-battle. So if you have the second, you can actually pile the Riptide here in the single column. So if we had double counterblast, we could have been more aggressive. But again, we only have one. So Terrific, attack, Soul Blast 1, restand, give 5k. So with the Excel, 19. Then attack again for the second wave, 19 again. Then attack. Let's do drive checks, 1-0, crit. So this is the ideal situation. So you want this to get crit, and it's our Supersonic Sailor, so just a 5k. And then third, a draw trigger, given a total of 15, and we draw a card, actually. That's actually pretty nice, drive check. So then Tidal Bore, effect, draw, and then if we want, we can call something to the board. But at this moment, honestly, we're pretty good. Now Riptide can attack. 32 by itself, Excel 37, and now 37 plus 15, 52. Then Andre's skill will kick in, give it an initial 2k, and now it's 59. And again, it has crit. And on the fourth battle, Thavas will trigger to retire something as well. Let's say we take some damage, we guarded, take more damage, we G-guarded as well. You can G-guard with Ionis to protect our rear guards, like Ophelia. Now we have more cards face up. We take another damage, so we're at 5 and draw. This is our hand so far. This is where the fun begins as well. First stride for Ragus. So in this case, you may notice we don't have another Riptide, but we can maybe, let's say we do Baragios and hope for the top 5. And we got a Riptide, perfect. Add to hand. Discarding Petros is fine. So you want to have Orphea, a Riptide here for sure. You can call Repress here for more aggression. We do want Alfieri in the mix as well. So you can call over this booster, use Supersonic Sailor to countercharge as well. We actually didn't have to do that, but just in case you need Soul, or if you want to have a CB open for another Ionis if they live. And then, of course, having Soul for Alfieri as well. Now, at the beginning of the battle phase, Alfieri would trigger. Again, Riptide Dragon, so Soul Blast, give the effect here, because it'll be restanding again. Terrific, Soul Blast as well. Restand, get additional 5k. Second wave attack. This can be boosted because we're restanding 5. Then you can attack with this. It'll become plus 5 thanks to Alfieri. So 37. And then this is also 37. Now you could attack boosted and drive checks. Oh my gosh, we definitely want this on this Riptide. Here's the critical. Second, nothing. Third, nothing. Then for Ragus' skill, counterblast 1. So we flip harmonics. So we have 5 here. Restand 2, 3, 4, and 5. Don't forget to generate the other Excel and draw a card. We drew Petros. And then we get to move a rear guard to that open circle. So we can just move this Riptide, move it here, and it'll get an additional 10k just to make another beater hit harder as well. Now, depending on their damage, if 4 damage or even a 5 damage, if they have to guard everything, you can attack and Alfieri will trigger, so another 5. Boosted, so now 52 plus 7, 59. Orphea triggers, counterblast, Soul Blast, restand minus the 5, then attack. Alfieri triggers again, 20k, so it pretty much nullify that. And this is 52 with crit. Then this can attack for 19 if they're still under. You can use Reprise here. Counterblast plus 10k. So this is 19 plus 13, 32. Then attack, 19. And then lastly, 47. And yeah, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck. This is really fun. I've been playing this past couple of weeks. I actually went to locals, did well with it. Really, I just wanted to play for fun. And it was both nostalgic and at the same time, something kind of new with everything working together, being so cohesive. So if you haven't tried it yourself yet, I highly recommend it. And if you want to see other deck profiles too, you want to check out these videos as well. Till next time, amigos.